If you're considering hiring a counselor or a coach, but not too sure which one, you need to watch this video. Hello and welcome. My name is Heather. I'm a registered professional counselor and a certified life coach, and I help people get through difficult breakups that are keeping them stuck from living their fullest lives. Today, I'm going to talk about the differences between counseling and coaching because there's a lot of differences. Let's get to it. When it comes from therapy from psychologists, registered counselors, licensed therapists, they typically have these things in common. They've all completed a certain standard of education. They've all completed a certain amount of practicum hours. They all received extensive amounts of supervision. They all belong to an accredited association. They all follow strict ethical guidelines to protect the public, such as yourself. They may vary in different types of treatments they offer, and they may vary in terms of whether or not they can diagnose, and they have experience in identifying whether or not their client needs to be referred to a specialist to best help them. The other thing is that most of these services, such as seeing a psychologist or a registered counselor, are covered or partially covered by your health insurance, which is great because therapy and investing in your mental and emotional health can get expensive, and some professionals can offer a sliding scale that can make therapy more affordable. Psychologists typically see clients who may have more serious or severe conditions, such as people who are diagnosed with bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. Registered counselors and licensed therapists typically see people who have more day-to-day challenges, such as coping with anxiety and depression, relationship problems, or challenges with their workplace. Before I get into the coaching side of things, I do want to say that people can benefit from coaching depending on their situation and the coach they choose to hire. But they need to be really cautious if they choose to hire a coach, and here's why. When it comes to the coaching industry, the biggest difference between a registered or a licensed counselor and a coach is that coaches are not regulated. What does this mean? It means that anyone can call themselves a coach despite their level of education or experience. A 13-year-old can call themselves a coach. A person who watched an episode of Dr. Phil can call themselves a coach. A person who attended a weekend seminar and a person who may have completed a 2-year coaching program and got certified can also call themselves coaches.
I'm a decorator? You decorate Dad's office and now you're a decorator? Okay, I went to the zoo yesterday. Now I'm a koala bear.
Not only can anyone call themselves a coach, and literally, there is nothing there to stop them, they can charge whatever they want. And most health insurances will not cover it or reimburse you for coaching services, so you are paying out of pocket. I was actually doing some research for this video, and I came across this popular relationship coach, and on their website, they charge $350 for one phone session. What? Are they also giving me tickets to the Backstreet Boys concert? Why is this so expensive? Even psychologists don't charge that much for a session, and they are like up here because they have more years of education and training compared to registered counselors and therapists. Do not be fooled by the amount of followers or subscribers they have or the never-ending testimonials that they have. If you actually look at a registered counselor's website versus a coach's website, you'll see that the registered counselors don't have testimonials plastered all over their websites because it's part of our ethics and our responsibility to protect our clients' confidentiality. Now, for the quality of education, if a coach even bothers to go to get some training, is that they're usually learning therapeutic approaches such as motivational interviewing or solutions-focused strategies, except it's a very watered-down version compared to any kind of treatment you would get with a registered counselor. It may be enough to help some people who are going through everyday life challenges and stressors, but counselors also do that too. Remember how I mentioned that counselors and therapists belong to an accredited association? You'll know if they do because they'll have a license number that needs to be included on their receipts so you can get reimbursed. If there was any malpractice on the end of the therapist and there was harm done to the client, the association will revoke their license, and they can never practice counseling again. Same goes for doctors. If there's a malpractice filed against a doctor and it was proven to be true, they would lose the ability to practice medicine. There's so much at stake, and again, we have to follow a strict code of ethics so we can protect the public. But coaches don't have these accredited associations. If someone hires a coach and they caused harm to the client, who can they turn to? No one. And the coach may continue to cause harm to other clients, whether intentionally or unintentionally. There's no substitute for education or proper science or research or relevant experience, intensive supervision, and talking to other people in the industry who understand research and know what they're talking about. On the plus side, coaches might bring in people who otherwise might not go see a counselor, but it's a problem when there's so little consequences, especially the coaches who don't stay within their scope. The other problem is that coaches very rarely refer people to a counselor or a psychologist because they can't diagnose or identify if the problem is out of their depth because they are unable to recognize that. There's not too much motivation for coaches to even say in their coaching agreement that I can't treat mental health conditions, since they'll face few consequences regardless. So that is a huge problem. Counselors and therapists have a lot more standardization in their field because they are regulated. A lot more insurance companies will recognize their services, and you don't have to pay $350 for one phone session. The main difference is coaching is unregulated and does not follow the same standards of education, treatment, and care as someone who is registered or licensed to do so, and they face very little consequences because there are no standards to follow. If you're wondering what to ask a therapist or a coach to make a decision to see whose services are right for you, here's some suggestions. What are your credentials? Which association do you belong to? How long have you had your practice? What types of clients do you usually focus on? What evidence-based practices do you use? These are some questions to assess how legitimate the practitioner is, and they should be able to answer these questions. If you recognize that you can't do it all on your own and you're looking to hire a counselor or a coach, make sure you hire carefully. Do research. Ask them the right questions. You have the right to know these things, and then hire based on what you think is the best for you. Question of the day: what surprised you the most between the differences of counseling and coaching? Next week, I'm going to talk about the common mistakes that keep you stuck on your ex. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. If you want to learn more about how to heal from your breakups, make sure to check out my previous videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, be kind and love yourself.